In the Canadian Rally Championship, these roads are legendary. On these roads, battles have been fought, championships won, and losses cruelly handed down.
Oh, Jesus.
Fate is never far behind. Lady Luck often deals her coldest hand.
The highs are very high in rally, but it can also be a cruel sport, and that's what we have today.
Today, with both the Canadian and U.S. championships decided, the best of America faces off against the best of Canada in a no-holds-barred showdown for the win. And an unexpected hero will defend Canada's honor. It is the Rally of the Tall Pines on Canada's sports leader, TSN. Hello, Canada, and welcome to Bancroft, Ontario for the final round of the 2011 Canadian Rally Championship. It is the legendary Rally of the Tall Pines.
This is the 41st running of what has become Canada's longest and most challenging rally, and a record 60 teams have entered, including Rally America champion and lead driver for Subaru USA, David Higgins.
Yeah, no, it's an unbelievable rally. Some of these stages here are probably some of the best you'll see anywhere.
I don't like to hold things back, so I'm going to try to go for it right from the get-go.
Yeah, I love these roads. It's a very challenging rally with great roads, and I'll probably push. Yeah, I want to win, so let's try to finish the season on a high note.
I will do my best. The team worked so hard. We're ready. We're going to do our best to prove that.
With over 200 competitive kilometers, Tall Pines is one of the longest rallies in the championship, and these roads are unforgiving. The big jumps and night stages are brutal on the cars, and survival is the key to finishing here.
The Canadian Rally Championship on TSN is brought to you by Subaru. Confidence in motion. And with both the U.S. and Canadian championships decided, this is going to be an epic showdown.
Leading the field into the stages is David Higgins, who battled Antoine Lestage for the Rally America Championship this season. He's piloting an STI prepared by Vermont Sports Car, rival to John Buffham's shop, Liber Racing, also from Vermont. He prepares Antoine's car. This will be a grudge match on many levels.
And Paul, is likely going to be a close one at that. Higgins sets the time to beat through the first split at 58.3. So that's going to be a very tough time to beat. Now, the first to challenge Subaru Rally Team USA, well, is Subaru Rally Team Canada and the Rocket Rally prepared SDI of Patrick Richard.
With Ellen Ockwell back in the co-driver's seat, Richard earned a win at the previous round, the Pacific Forest Rally. Richard and Ockwell have won Tall Pines twice together, and Richard has a history of successfully challenging the best in America.
Now remember, first split time, 58.3. That is the time to beat, and he'll punch the clock at 58.5, only 2/10 of Higgins' time. And now, here comes Antoine Lestage, who earned his first win, Paul. Can you imagine this? Tall Pines back here in 2004.
Antoine has competed many times on these roads with great success, but the first stage of the rally is a new stage. It's part of the classic Iron Bridge stage, but run backwards. It'll be interesting to see how his times compare to Higgins and Richard on this level playing field.
Remember now, first split time to beat is 58.3. 57, 50. Oh, look at that, 58 even. Antoine Lestage is out to prove a point this weekend.
And only half a second separating the top three drivers. Unbelievable.
Okay, here comes Higgins through the second split. Watch his time now is 2:07.7. So that is the time to beat. We're into the last K of the stage.
The tail end of this stage is especially challenging, combining crests, jumps, fast straights, and tight bends. Basically, a little bit of everything the teams are going to face today.
So we're coming up to the finish now. Oh, and you can hear him picking up speed past the 100-meter warning boards. Watch for the clock to stop now. 2:32.2.
That's an average of nearly 120 kilometers an hour on what amounts to a logging road.
And the first challenger, looking at it, Patrick Richard hanging it out now. The first split, he was 2/10 slower. Let's see if he's made that back. 2:07.7, no, 2:08.1. Now 4/10 behind going into the most challenging part of the stage.
The last kilometer of the stage is fairly wide and fast, but Richard's driving style favors the tighter, more technical stages coming later.
Man, Paul, Oh, he still looks fast, catching air over that last jump before the flying finish. Looking for his time. Now, remember, it's 2:32. That is the time to beat. Coming up, 2:33 flat. Less than a second behind the Rally American champ.
That was okay.
Yeah, it's clean.
So from one four-time Canadian Rally champion to another, here comes Lestage. He beat Higgins by 3/10 through the first split. Let's see what he does now through the second. And he's got him again, Paul. And we knew that both Richard and Higgins would push him to be fastest on both sides of the board.
He needs to be careful, though. It's a long, tough rally, and this is just the beginning.
Okay, Paul, so here we go. What can Lestage do? As we watch the clock past the boards, and he punches it at 2:31.1. More than a second faster than Higgins. Almost 2 better than Richard.
Over crest.
Oh, and we know now this bright orange paint can only be one person, and that's Crazy Leo. That's how he does now against the formation champions through the first split. 2:10.1. That's 2 off the pace.
Don't count out Leo Erlichich yet. He crashed on stage 2 here last year and learned a painful lesson while watching from the sidelines. He's adamant that he's going to endure to the finish today, and he isn't taking any big risks.
Hard to believe that he would be playing this conservative game. Let's see how it serves, though, coming up to the 100-meter boards. Finish clock is running 2:36.4, 3 seconds behind Richard, but he's still in the hunt. So Lestage pulls out all the stops, takes an early lead, but less than 2 seconds separate the top 3 teams. When we come back, the battle of the champions heats up.
A good start, but still a long way to go. We'll see what happens.
As the day progresses, as we get more and more and deeper into the fight, it's going to be tough for all of us to stay on the road.
The Rally of the Tall Pines continues.
Hey, Mario.
Hey, what do you got in this thing?
16 valve, 2.4 liter engine, 200 horsepower. Air conditioning.
32 valve, 3.5 liter engine, 650 horsepower, air conditioning.
Honda builds every IndyCar engine. It's our commitment to racing and engineering. The same engineering that goes into the all-new Civic, the official vehicle of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Welcome back. Rally of the Tall Pines. It's the first service of the day, and your leader, Antoine Lestage.
Well, I like to start hard sometime if I try to take the opportunity if they're still sleeping. Good start, but still a long way to go. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, really, because obviously there's so many crests and jumps, and when you're doing a recce, you don't know what the car is going to really do over it. So it's great to have people like Pat and Antoine here as well, so you can see when you're making changes what's working, because sometimes what feels the best when you're driving is not always the fastest when you actually look at the stopwatch.
The Tall Pines is always an unusually difficult event. A lot of jumps, a lot of big air, and a lot of off-camber crests, so you got to kind of take it easy. As the day progresses, as we get more and more and deeper into the fight, and the guys are pushing harder and harder, it's going to be tough for all of us to stay on the road.
I am a little bit slower than I hoped to be in the beginning, but you know, still some new things on the car I'm getting used to. I'm going to use that excuse. So hopefully we're going to pick up the pace a little bit.
And Paul Leo will have to pick up the pace a lot if he hopes to catch the likes of Antoine Lestage. He seems really to have abandoned his usual conservative tactics.
It looks like Lestage is determined to prove a point, but a maximum attack pace is unsustainable in the long run, especially on these roads. Whoa. All 4 wheels off into the disc. That's a wake-up call.
And with Patrick hot on his heels, Lestage really can't afford those kind of mistakes.
This is a bit of an interesting role reversal. Richard is playing it cool while Lestage looks to make his mark on every stage. It's usually the other way around.
And we know, too, that Richard has the Manufacturers' Championship also to think about.
And that's going to be a tough battle. With Lestage's performance earlier in the season, the top 6 places need to be occupied by Subarus to secure another title. That's a tall order. Interestingly enough, although David Higgins doesn't qualify to collect points in the Drivers' Championship, his car does qualify for the Manufacturers' title.
And he does suffer a bit of a bad luck. Subaru Rally Team USA, a flat costs him nearly 20 seconds to Richard, who moves ahead of Higgins in this Canada against the U.S. battle.
Edging in on the battle for the podium is Team Swap Shop's lead driver, Bruno Carré. With the championship decided, Swap Shop is using this weekend to test a bunch of modifications to the car. A new turbo, new diff ratios, new engine tune, all things they hope will make the team even more competitive in 2012. Nick Narini, on the other hand, is dialed in and on a tear, holding on to 5th.
And between Narini and the podium is Crazy Leo.
Although Leo's car actually dates back to 2004, CanJam has been steadily evolving the car's technology. Having reached the limit of power output, their recent efforts have centered around making the car lighter and more aerodynamic. They've modified the rear wing and added canards or dive planes to the front bumper to help it fly better over the jumps.
So we go from one rising star to another. This is Max Riddle.
Rising star is right. The Rocket Rally driver went from 0 rally experience to top 5 finishes in less than a year. And by taking the start line today, he's locked up the novice championship.
It really is amazing progress, but he still has a lot to learn from the veterans such as Peter Thompson.
The 2005 Canadian Rally Champion is backed up by 4-Star Motorsports' Frank and Dan Sprangel's shop. Although Thompson rarely comes out to compete these days, when he does, he commands respect.
And Paul, we also have a great battle in two-wheel drive.
Yeah, the Zedrell brothers have already locked up the two-wheel drive championship, and they're leading the field today. But hot on their heels are the American Ford Fiestas of Dylan Van Wey and Wyatt Knox. The Fiesta R2 is a package that can be ordered from M Sport to turn any regular production Fiesta into a 170 horsepower Group 2 rally car, complete with performance brakes, suspension, and a sequential gearbox. It's a cost-effective way to get into the sport.
Great looking car, that Ford Fiesta. Now at the other end of the performance spectrum, Antoine Lestage is putting his Evo to good use, having won every stage of the rally so far.
The pace he's at is very hard on the car, and the rally's 200 kilometers long.
Ooh. That didn't sound good, did it?
The gearbox just packed it in, but they have a service right after this stage. If they can limp it out, they might be able to continue.
I don't know, Paul. Looks like they are pulling over, and that's it. They are finished.
That's really heartbreaking, but it's their first DNF due to mechanical failure this year. Impressive considering they ran the entire U.S. and Canadian championships.
And so with Lestage out, Richard takes the lead with Higgins and Erlichich. Less than a minute behind, Narini is solid in 4th, but Carré is picking up speed. When we come back, the battle between the U.S. and Canada heats up.
We got a lot of top drivers, really deep field, 60 cars, anybody can win. It's exciting.
More action from the Rally of the Tall Pines when we come back.
With so much racing going on in the world, you'd have to be a four-headed monster to keep up with it all. Luckily, we have that. Join Peter Keene, Bill Wood, Errol Tucker, and their guest driver analyst each week for an opinionated look at the news coming out of the racing world. Remember, it's GoRacingTV.com for all your racing and video needs.
Welcome back. Vic Rauter along with Paul Chater, and in this Battle of Champions, the first victim is Antoine Lestage.
Yeah, bad luck for us. The gearbox broke almost at the end of the 5th stage. But it is rally, like you say, but we had a good run. We won all the stages. We were leading the rally, and it's disappointing, but no big deal. We'll go to the bar.
David Higgins is well aware that local knowledge is an asset here.
Yeah, it's one of those, the Tall Pines is one of those difficult rallies. It's a bit like Finland. You need the experience of running the stages, because some of the jumps you take a little bit too fast, some of them you take a little bit too slow. So, this rally is such a tough, long rally that if we can just keep going, trying the car, improve little different things, learn more for it, then I'm sure we can maybe catch up a little bit of time as well.
And Patrick Richard says, bring it on, boys.
Yeah, this is a great event. We got a lot of top drivers, really deep field, 60 cars, anybody can win. It's exciting. I mean, the first stage I had butterflies, and I talked to Alan. I said, "Are we going to go crazy, or are we going to take it easy?" Because last year we wrecked the car before the first service, so took a bit of a cautious approach, but it's paying off in spades now, and hopefully we'll be there at the end.
Max Riddle knows what's at stake on these roads.
On this rally, the common collective attitude is it's a major benefit, because the roads are so technical and there's a lot of big airs, and you can't if you push too hard or you get too aggressive, you can get caught out really easily. So it's working out really well. It's got us to this point and hopefully a lot further.
Paul, we're about to find out if Riddle has the answer. Look at all the people now at the Iron Bridge stage.
Richard is leading the field now, but this stage is hugely competitive.
All right, we're coming up to the split, right at the base of the bridge. Richard hits it at 3:43.4.
That's nearly a record time. Richard and Aquil are right on the edge.
So he knows that his American counterpart is getting settled into a rhythm, and he'll fight for every kilometer. Just look at the fans. They love the Rally of the Tall Pines.
Iron Bridge rivals Camp Brûlé or the jump at Beta Chaleur for the number of fans.
All right, here we go. Last 100 meters. And Richard clocks in 4:11.5.
I thought we did that better.
It felt a lot better, yeah.
Did we ever thread the needle on the jump?
Yeah, Jesus.
We did it like that.
It was a bit close.
So Richard posts a blistering time through the stage. Now let's see if what David Higgins can do as he comes up to the split. 3:42.8, so he's faster than Richard.
The Rally America champion's last adventure in Canada was at Rally International de Quebec in 2003 when he was driving for Mitsubishi. His efforts ended with a crash while fighting for the lead.
So he may be trying to finish something that he started 8 years ago. Coming up to the flying finish. Higgins will stop the clock. Look at 4:11.5 is the time to beat. Comes up 4:11.5 as he ties Richard through the spectator stage.
With Lestage out, Crazy Leo is solidly in third, his conservative pace paying off.
All right, let's see how his time compares to the bridge at 3:48.1. So still 5 seconds off the pace.
I'm actually happy to see that, Vic. Leo has fallen victim to the adrenaline rush before, what we call the red mist. We both know that Leo can just about match the champion's pace on maximum attack, but big risks are involved. His maturity is showing through the discipline required to maintain a more conservative, sustainable pace.
Well, boy, he looks fast and smooth through the corners. Let's go now. 4:16.2.
It's going to be much slower because of the soft stuff, but well driven.
Paul, it looks so as if Nick Narini, though, is having some problems.
They've obviously hit something, and their right front tire is shredded, and we're only 8Ks into a 28K stage. They're going to have to change it out, and it's going to cost them a lot.
And so with Narini bleeding time, Synchro Autosports' Simon Lausier moves up to 10th place with Anton Lestage out. They're Mitsubishi's best hope of securing the manufacturer's title.
Team Swap Shop's Bruno Carré is right behind the Narinis in the running order, and this could be his chance to move up.
Looks like Narini's still trying to get that tire swapped, and Bruno Carré moves past them into 4th place. Come on, guys. You can get that tire changed.
These roads are some of the most challenging in the championship, but Max Riddle is undeterred, battling fellow young gun Hugo de Grenier with only seconds between them.
And Paul, do they have that tire changed yet? Riddle sweeps past Narini, moving to 6th, but Narini finally has it mounted and getting it into gear and off the jack, and finally. So Narini's flat costs him big minutes, but the big news is both Pat Richard and David Higgins had punctures too, and that puts Crazy Leo into the lead. Coming up, the teams face the most challenging stages.
The Hastings stages are pretty tough, and I think you need to do them a few times before you can go really hard on it.
And if I break the car or go off, there's a big Jamaican guy who's going to kick my ass.
It's all or nothing for Crazy Leo when we come back.
Well, Greg Creamer, GoRacingTV.com has done it again. They've come up with reruns of the Viper Racing series, which you and I are kind of interested in.
Very interested in. And folks, if you haven't seen this, tune in, because that racing is absolutely spectacular. These special spec cars that they've come up with, the performance level of these things, Tom, has been spectacular. The racing close, celebrity guest drivers of sorts that get in the mix and have some fun. And what it's actually turned into is an incredibly exciting series. In its debut year, you can revisit it right here at GoRacingTV.com.
And about the 5th best thing about the series is that Greg and I host it. We'll see you on GoRacingTV.com coming up this season.
Way down the list.
Way.
Welcome back to the Rally of the Tall Pines here on TSN. The sun is setting, which means the teams will now be heading into 2 loops of the most challenging stages of the rally. The Canadian Rally Championship on TSN is brought to you by Subaru, Confidence in Motion, and by Yokohama Tires. Now you've got control. So fighting to make back the time they lost due to a flat tire, Patrick Richard is on maximum attack, Paul.
The Hastings stages have more jumps than some entire rallies. Just listen to how many times Alan Ockel says jump in his notes.
40, 6 left plus to jump 40, jump 160, jump 160, big jump, and keep way left, don't cut over big jump, 40, 6 right.
So for those keeping score, that was 6 jumps in less than 20 seconds. That is a roller coaster.
And brutally hard on the car. That's it. Sounds like Richard's transmission just let go. That's the end of their season.
That's 2 champions out with gearbox failure.
Okay, I'll get the triangle. Sorry. It's okay.
With Richard out, David Higgins now moves up to second, and he's now trying to claw back time from Crazy Leo.
Higgins is putting pressure on Leo, and you'd better believe he's doing it on purpose. You don't become a champion without understanding tactics, and he knows that Leo is still relatively young and passionate as a driver. He's probably hoping to provoke Leo into making a mistake, but if Leo keeps his cool, he should be able to hold off Higgins. He has a long way to go yet.
70, cut right 10 over small crest, 30.
And can you believe it? The Battle of the Hastings stages has claimed another victim. Max Riddle, who managed to keep his cool through most of the season, finally pushed a little too hard, Paul, crashed heavily on stage 9. He was taken to hospital. Thankfully, we can tell you he's okay, and we look forward to having his promising young driver back out on the stages in 2012. So with Richard and Riddle out, Higgins closes in on Crazy Leo, and Losier moves up into 6th, now in position to win the manufacturer's title for Mitsubishi. It's the last service of the year. The veteran and the young gun are ready to square off.
The Hastings stages are pretty tough, and I think you need to do them a few times before you can go really hard. And then just the big jumps, I was maybe could have gone a little bit faster on some of them, and then there's other ones I was going too quick and then having to scrub off speed to sort it out again. So you need some experience for them.
And Leo knows what the mission is.
Okay, it is very hard to drive now, knowing that I have to back off and save the car and things like that. So now it's harder, but then if I break the car or go off, there's a big Jamaican guy who's gonna kick my ass. So.
Sounds like Leo is feeling the pressure, though.
Vic, this is it. Starting this season with a crash at Rally Paris-Neige, Leo made the decision that it was time to get serious. He's worked hard to shed the brash energy that caused so much calamity last season, replacing it with determined, level-headed focus. With David Higgins hot on his heels, this is the ultimate test of his newfound maturity.
Bruno Carré endures to the finish, claiming yet another podium for Team Swap Shop, with Simon Losier of Synchro Autosport grabbing 6th place and the Manufacturers' Championship for Mitsubishi.
The Zedro brothers are out with mechanical trouble, and Wyatt Knox held off Dylan Van Way to win 2-wheel drive in his Ford Fiesta R2.
And so now here he comes. It is maximum attack. David Higgins taking huge chunks out of Leo's lead, trying to intimidate the rising star by chasing him down.
Leo is refusing to be provoked. An entire season's worth of hard work is coming down to this, the last stage of the season. If he can keep his cool and make it to the finish, he might be able to hold off Higgins' attack.
Only a couple of 100 meters to go for Crazy Leo.
Like 4. Wow. I think we did it.
They've made it to the finish, but we won't know if it was enough to secure the win until Higgins checks in and gets his time.
Yes! 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 Nice one!
Yeah, I guess it pays off to be smart sometimes and not crash on the second stage, doesn't it?
You don't hear me speechless too often, but I think this is the one time you're going to hear me speechless. This is such a tough rally. You've seen all the cars that broke here. Big thanks to CanJam for giving us a car fit to last 200 Ks of this forest, and this man for keeping it on the road.
Crazy Leo earns his first national victory flanked on the podium by David Higgins and Bruno Carré.
And with the points he earned today, Leo actually finishes in second in the championship ahead of Patrick Richard. Amazing work for the young privateer. Stuart Ho and the boys at Can-Jam have got to be proud of him.
And in fact, there are rally fans across the country who are too. Crazy Leo has been working toward this goal an entire season, and it finally pays off here on these challenging roads, the last event of the year. It's a wonderful way to cap off the rally season. And now on behalf of Paul Chater and our entire crew, thank you for joining us, the Canadian Rally Championship on Canada's sports leader, TSN.